So for my TED Talk, I'm going to talk about my Genius Hour project, which I decided to learn how to knit. I had actually always wanted to learn how to knit. It's been something I've wanted to do for a really long time, but I've never set aside the time to do it, never went out to buy anything because I've had other things to do and never really felt that as a priority. So when we got the Genius Hour project assigned and I found out that we could literally do whatever we wanted pretty much, I was really excited to be able to learn how to knit. So I got really into it and was really pumped to be able to start because I have wanted to learn for so long. So did a bit of research, not much that you need to know. You need knitting needles and you need yarn. So I went to Walmart, way too many options, so I spent a lot of time trying to pick out a yarn. Also ended up buying a crocheting needle, which I thought I would have needed for knitting. Turns out I don't actually need, so that's still lying around in my room. But me and my friend went, so I got her kind of on the project with me. She's learned how to knit too, so we bought yarn, knitting needles, crochet hooks, which again, not using, and we actually just looked up YouTube videos that night and started knitting. So I looked up first just like a lot of pages and it just seemed too confusing to follow it by reading it, so I ended up just looking up a YouTube video which made it super simple, easy to follow, just kind of able to pause it whenever I needed. So started that first, didn't really get how many times, so when you're starting knitting, it's called casting on, so you're kind of tying knots along the knitting needle for how many knits you're going to have essentially. So my plan was technically to make a mini blanket, not really because I didn't have the right knitting needles for it, but anyways, I cast on the whole row, ended up being way too many, and then on the packaging it said something about 10 by 10, so me and my friend thought that it meant that it only needed to be casted on 10 times, so started doing that, and then turns out that it ended up being way too small. So once I finished it, it was like maybe a 4x4 square, call it my coaster now, restarted and got the hang of it. Once I figured out how to properly do a knit, like the stitch, it was easy, but it did take me a while to figure out how to properly do it, because sometimes I would do it and be coming out too tight, and then getting the knits in for the next one wasn't working. Other times I was doing it, it was coming out too loose, so I was just kind of looking up videos and reading people's comments to see like maybe I was holding the knitting needles wrong or what I was doing while the process was going on, that it was either going too tight or too loose. But once I figured out a way that worked and it was coming out neat, it's super easy. Like, don't forget it. It's not kind of thing like you pick up once you know how to do it. It's like a mindless task pretty much. Like once I got far into it, I'm like can watch TV, kind of be doing stuff while I'm knitting at the same time. It's just a really repetitive and mindless task, but I honestly love it. I'm really glad I had the opportunity to participate in the Genius Hour project and learn how to do it, because it's something so simple that I could have easily looked up and gotten into it any other time, but I never set aside time for it because it wasn't something that I thought was super important, or I don't know, I thought there were other things that I'd rather be doing, but I honestly love doing it now. It's super relaxing. I want to see what my finished product comes out to be. It takes way longer than I expected, or maybe just because I'm slow at it, I don't know, but it makes me appreciate things that are hand knit, because I'm like, how long did it take those people to knit it? Because I swear I've put so many hours into it, or at least it feels that way, and it's not even halfway done, I don't think yet. So yeah, I'm really glad I got the opportunity to do it, and it's such a fun project that I never would have thought you could make a project where students can choose anything and allow them that freedom and still have a product that turns out well enough that's something that's academically, I guess, acceptable. But seeing, I don't know, at least from my point of view, I had so much fun with it because I was able to choose something that I personally really wanted to do for a long time. So if students have that ability and choice, they will likely choose something that they really want to do, and likely come out with a great product, a great turnout, be excited about it like I was. So I really enjoyed doing this Genius Hour project. I'm really happy I finally learned how to knit. Thanks for listening.